All right, a couple more functionalities in regards to the SQ5 and a little bit of icons here and there to help things out. Notice this icon right here, this little Ethercon type cable. It does kind of look like this connector, if it will focus in. Try to see if I can focus that right there. Kind of looks similar to this. Since I unplugged it from the actual quote-unquote hub, it's disappeared. Once I plug it back in, it should pop right up. Give it a second or two, it pops right up. If you see that little icon, that means everything is connected properly from the mixer to the snake. Look for that. Look for this mixer, right? Look for that icon right there. If you're not hearing any sound, everything's turned on. For some reason, one of the cables got disconnected. That's one of the icons to look for. Gonna actually pop in the USB drive right here, and you'll see the USB icon. It does not show up when you connect the USB to the computer, but when you actually connect the USB drive, right there, when you connect the USB to the mixer, that pops up. So we can do a couple things with it. Going to setup, actually scenes, it should be on the setup actually, or utility. There you go, utility. USB utility. Notice that it says USB I/O is set for USB B. That means it's connected to the computer with the actual USB cable. And SQ drive is not enabled. You can see that 7.5 gigs free with 53 gigs used for various show files. So with this, I can actually pull the show file. Show. So this is the setting that I saved yesterday from this Sunday setting. This Sunday being November 10th. So I will keep this USB drive in the drawer somewhere where you can retrieve it. Just in case the mixer misbehaves, you need a hard reset, you can just go ahead and hit this. And you can just, let's see, overwrite the existing USB. You can recall from the USB. That means all the settings that's been saved up to then, say on November 10th, will be recalled. If I do this, it should not play anything from the USB anymore. So let's go ahead and try that. Recalling from a USB will interrupt the USB audio streaming for several seconds. Yes. And everything will be overwritten. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. Notice my USB recording playback stopped. Recalling show, please wait. So it's going to take a while, like about a couple of minutes. And I'm not sure if I want to keep this in real time. Actually, I'll keep it in real time just to see how long it takes. So this is from yesterday's setting. I saved this. And so this is kind of a Sunday setting. Everything's at 0. The stereo DCA's pretty much at full regular volume with the drum settings like so. So that means everything that I did up till now is wiped out. But basically, it was just kind of like setting the board for local playback. So not too much of a loss there, I don't think. And to toggle recording from instead of the USB B, the computer. Let me kind of pan it over here. So notice I have the computer connected. Let me zoom out. So right now, it is set to record anything that we do onto my computer using Reaper as a DAW. And I'm going to zoom it back in to, so you see that USB toggle? If I touch it, it's going to turn into SQ drive. That means it's going to pull the WAV files and record to the SQ drive. That's the USB drive right there. Do that. Set it on auto again to see. So if it's not recording, if the computer is not recognizing the mixer, go into I/O, USB, USB B. So that way you're recording onto the computer. We're trying to investigate option into recording onto a USB hard drive, but there is some compromises that we'll need to make. For instance, you can't do a full recording set. You can only do 16 channels. That means we have to consolidate the drums into a single aux bus. And we may even have to do keys into a single aux bus, things like that. So there needs to be some compromises made in order for that to happen. let's see. I think that's pretty much it for additional functionalities and or troubleshooting. Just make sure everything is connected in and you are good to go. I haven't really programmed any other soft buttons. That's one of the things you may want to consider. Hey, do we really need soft buttons for mute groups and whatnot? I prefer, depends on the environment. Sometimes having a mute group is nice, sometimes it isn't. So that's one of the things we might want to revisit back once we have everything kind of set up and running. Right now we have everything set up and running as well. Let's see. That is pretty much it. I will go ahead and add additional resources. The YouTube channel where I loaded this, my YouTube channel, should have the playlist from Alan and Heath about the SQ5 functionality linked on there by the time you watch this. So do watch and review that. It has really good information that I didn't delve deep into per se, or it may have covered the things I may not have covered. So I really recommend you guys to watch that playlist in conjunction with this playlist so you know what's going on with the mixer, so you have a good idea of how to get the mixer up and running. Couple of things, let's see, IP33 to, so basically the last 8 channels on layer C, it's you can kind of see everything is local 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 15. So basically anything in the back channel, that's local input IO. Let me kind of zoom it in. And let me kind of do the exposure on that area so you can see the verbiage. So local socket is basically what's behind the mixer, 1 through 16. If I go into the FOH, you can see that it's local socket 16. So that is my talkback. Did not use the talkback per se because we may need to make announcement into the PA, for instance. So instead we just fade it down, and then we can group that talkback into the ME1 as well. So there's a little bit of a trade-off. We lose a channel, but at the same time we kind of gain additional functionalities with that. So, but we do have a talkback button available here if you like to use that. Haven't really set it up. And finally, going into the LR, hit the GEQ. We're not using the GEQ, but we can set up the GEQ for each of the main mix along with the matrices, I believe. Let me get out of there. Let's get into the right layer. So you can see each matrices, you can set up a GEQ along with the PEQ, but not for our auxes. Actually, I changed that. You can do GEQ for the auxes, but input channels do not have GEQs. You can insert a GEQ into a aux channel, I believe. I'm sorry, an input channel if you want to burn a FX rack for some reason. FX rack, we have FX5. These are side, is it insert or side chain? What is the verbiage? I think it's insert. So basically it takes all the signal, applies the effects, and then that takes it back out into the signal flow. We have 2 de-essers, one for the Beta 87. It has a tendency to go really crispy at times, depending on who is using it. So I think we can remove this one because we are doing all the voices, insert, channel, send, announce. That's all the vocals been tied into the de-esser. So all of the spoken microphone has a DS set up at around 7 kilohertz, pretty fast, with pretty fast response with heavy reduction. So we get a little bit less of that S's, have the multiband compressor just to help with the keyboards, and the vocals a little bit, just kind of tightening up some of the more problematic frequencies, compressing those frequencies down so that it kind of like glues everything together. We had these are not for free. These are on sale for like $130, $140. I wish they threw them in, but at the same time, we already gotten good use out of them, so I think they're worth the money. So there you go. All right, SQ5, the way we use it on Sundays explained from head to tail. If there are any other questions, maybe one of the weeks while I'm recovering, we can bring it back and do a little bit of Q&A. All right, thanks guys.